Let's see a quad.
I don't know.
Keegan down in front. Like this good.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's special concert. The ensemble on stage right now is the Dublin Coffin Emerald Band, and I'm their director, Mr. Kevin Wallach. The first piece that we played is called Angelic Celebrations by Randall Standridge, who gets a lot of play these days with concert bands, but this is one of his earlier pieces, and it's a lot of fun. The next piece that we're going to play is called the Nathan Hale Trilogy by Jim Kernow. This is in 3 movements, so it'll be in 3 sections with a pause between each section. Please hold your applause until after the 3rd section. Nathan Hale was an American patriot of the Revolutionary War. He was hanged by the British as an American spy when he was only 21 years old. His conduct and his courage have made him one of America's best remembered heroes. The first movement, Entrada, in July 1775, he received a lieutenant's commission from the Connecticut Assembly and fought in the Siege of Boston. The second movement is the Intermezzo, which is based on what's called Hale Site, which is a monument that marks the place of his capture and death. Before he was hanged, he made a speech concluding with the words which have since inspired Americans: "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." And the third and final movement is called the Rangers. And the Rangers were a small fighting group of which Nathan Hale was a member, that were respected for their fighting qualities and their daring leadership in dangerous missions. So this is Nathan Hale Trilogy by James Curnow.
You know of that.
Yeah, I know James Curnow really well. I do.
Name drama.
Don't know the piece.
After this next piece, we'll have a quick set change for concert band's portion of our concert, but Emerald Band will end with an arrangement of music from the James Bond movies, arranged by Michael Brown. The themes that are included are the James Bond theme, the themes Skyfall, Live and Let Die, No Time to Die, and Goldfinger.
I'm taking pictures before my computer. The people can put some music behind.
Did you learn that from the director? Or you look it up yourself? The director's supposed to share that stuff.
At least he knew who the Beatles were. Also knows Monty Python. getting dark. You may understand that. It's getting older.
It's quiet.
I told you it was enjoys that can go. Good. I'm having more fun with mine now than I guess that's okay.
It's actually eighth grade.
Really?
Eighth grade already. Almost hit the grade five. For the new song class. And he's playing trombone.
Oh, really?
He started lessons a month ago.
Good.
He's going to he's thankful for it. We already is a man mistake this week. He'll get a question next year. Try out this project. He's on the track field right now.
What we're hoping to do in between the bands while the transition is going on is bring some people up to talk to you a little bit, just really briefly, about something that Mr. Bradstreet is really passionate about. You've probably heard right from Mr. Bradstreet or from your student talking about it, but Mr. Bradstreet is a huge believer in the fact that band teaches life skills, and it helps students to become better people, better musicians, and just well-rounded individuals in understanding how they can help others and contribute back to their community. So we have some people who will be able to speak to that a little bit. And so between this transition, we'd like to welcome up Chris Orozco, who you may know. Would you give me Chris a round of applause? Was Chris a member of the band for 4 years. Chris has come back to work with the band for the past 4 years. And so he's got a really deep understanding of the message that Mr. Bradstreet has tried to instill in the students. And he's just going to share with you a little bit about that here tonight. So please enjoy.
Hi guys, my name is Chris Orozco. For those who don't know me, I'm an alum from Dublin Kaufman High School and graduated in 2020. And I've had the privilege of being a student under Mr. Bradstreet for 4 years under the marching band and 2 years under the symphonic band. So I just wanted to share with you some personal anecdotes I've had of his great leadership of the band, and I do have a lot to say, so I'm going to be glancing a little bit at my notes. But something I think that everyone in my class can agree upon in 2020 is that Mr. Bradstreet, throughout every second of his interactions with us and current students, he's always teaching. He always puts in the effort to impart a lesson or use the circumstances we face in band as a learning experience. And this is something that was, like Mr. Nippert said, was intentional on his part. He would remind us all that band was not just about the music, but it was about learning life skills through that music. And this is why we considered Mr. Bradstreet to be an educator, not just a band director. Something else that I found very admirable about Mr. Bradstreet was his ability to build trust within all of us in the band. While it was never outright said at the time by the students, we all had that unwavering trust in Mr. Bradstreet to lead us in the right direction. He created an environment of trust. So much so that even if things were unclear or we were unsure about our ability to do something, we would have confidence in Mr. Bradstreet to maintain a level of stability for us throughout those situations. I believe these lesson-minded and trust-building attributes that Mr. Bradstreet had really made it so that he had a long-lasting impact on the students well after we graduated. After I graduated, I came back as college staff for the marching band and was able to continue learning from Mr. Bradstreet. Throughout those years, I've developed more and more of appreciation of Mr. Bradstreet and his approach and these lessons that he gave through his approach. These were things I carried throughout my undergraduate career, my internships, and of course throughout my experience marching in a world-class drumline after high school. Under him, I learned character, work ethic, respect, but most importantly, and I emphasize importantly, I learned how to think, which for me was a major upgrade. For those of us who worked alongside or were a student under Mr. Bradstreet, I think we can all agree the very specific cadence Mr. Bradstreet has in his voice will live in our heads for eternity, reminding us to think, say thank you to those who have helped us, leave no stone unturned in our academic or professional careers, and most importantly, to think twice before we buy any drinks at Starbucks. I'll mention a personal anecdote here, and this is something I made sure to tell Mr. Bradstreet last season. But this fall is when I began graduate school. Needless to say, this was a time in my life where I really needed to start thinking more about money and how to save more of it. So I had this dream. I was back in the marching band, and we were all set up in the block. Mr. Bradstreet had our full attention, and we hear him say over the mic in his typical cadence, he's like walking back and forth. He says, "Band, point to the retirement home," and then we all point to the retirement home. He says, "Band, if you don't start saving now, you'll never make it." So, needless to say, I woke up and I knew then that I needed to start my retirement fund, which I did. So that just shows the impact of his voice on all of our brains currently, even me being, 5 years graduated. But in all seriousness, Mr. Bradstreet, I and all the alumni, we wanted to thank you for providing us such a solid foundation in our early young adult lives that we can carry throughout the rest of our lives. And whether or not we save enough for retirement, we congratulate you on yours. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Colin DeCierno, and I'm a clarinet here in the concert band. The first piece we played was titled Rhythm Stand by Jennifer Higdon. The piece is supposed to help the listener learn about how any sound in their environment can become music if placed in the right context, even hitting a stand with a pencil.
March-like movement, a soft lyrical movement filled with solos, and a faster movement in 6/8 that is meant to create a dancing feel. It is tradition in the concert setting to hold your applause until the conclusion of all the movements of the piece. There will be a short pause in between each movement. Please do not clap during those pauses. Instead, hold your applause until the very end.
and I'm a trumpet here in the concert band. This concert band season has been wonderful. We've had the chance to learn the most challenging music that concert bands performed in the past 6 years. We even showed off to Dr. Mickelson, Director of Bands at Ohio State University. Dr. Mickelson came in and took the time to work with us on making our performance more musical and inspiring. Now to introduce our final piece, Johnny Harris.
My name is Johnny Harris, and I'm a clarinet here in the concert band. The final piece we're going to play tonight is called Foundry by John Mackey. It gets its title from the found percussion that is used in the back of the band. You'll hear wood sounds, metal bowls, metal piles, and a big clang. We hope you enjoy Foundry.
Check, check. Thank you very much. That was the concert band, second band here at Dublin Kaufman High School. And now we have another guest for you in our transition time again. You got to hear from a student, someone who has been with us as a student and someone who came back and worked with us as a staff member. And now we'd like you to get to hear from a parent, someone who had 2 kids go through the band program, who volunteered with us, who was part of the boosters and saw all the impacts that the band program had on our students. Would you please welcome Chris Hickey up.
Hello, I am Chris Hickey. I had the honor of being the president of the Dublin Music Boosters for my final 2 years as a band parent. When my daughter Jordan, who graduated in 2020, prepared for her high school, we hoped that she would be happy and find a place of belonging. I loved band in high school, so we thought we would try that. It turned out it was one of the best parenting decisions we've ever made. Greg and I found a partner in Jeremy Bradstreet. He put profoundly kind students in her path to help her feel supported. She had a group to be part of and peers looking out for her. He looked for ways for her to shine and feel part of the show. Our younger daughter, Alex, joined a few years later. She didn't have a choice. As a family, we were fully invested in the 7-year plan, but she loved it too, as we knew that she would. Both say their favorite part of band was the community and the friends they made. They are always well hydrated to this day because Mr. Bradstreet reminded them to drink so much water. He also taught them how to point at things. Mr. Bradstreet taught them both how to be part of a team. He planned incredible trips to Disney and New York. Competitions were also a highlight. It was always fun to hear people oohing and aahing around me when our band was on the field because his art was that memorable. But one of my favorite things as a band parent was chaperoning band camp. And something I will always remember that Mr. Bradstreet said to us during our first meeting was, be on the lookout for loneliness. When we see a student alone, get another band student to invite them to sit with them, play a game, or hang out. And watching what would happen next was always beautiful. The inclusive community is what Mr. Bradstreet and all of the educators in the program expected. Mr. Bradstreet built something truly beautiful in this school that he so loves. For me personally, I want to say it means the world to me, Jeremy, that you believed in me and that you trusted me to help lead in the Music Boosters. I will never forget that. Mr. Bradstreet, Greg, Jordan, Alex, and I wish you a wonderful new chapter filled with golf, drumming, and writing your next book. To Mr. Nippert, the program will be in excellent hands with you. You were made for this. I look forward to seeing your creative vision each year at the Dublin Showcase. I'm sure no one will be cheering louder for you than Mr. Bradstreet. Thank you.
grades here at Double Coffin High School. And tonight's always a great night. We get to celebrate a marching band season. We get to celebrate a concert band season. And this year, in celebrating concert band season, for this concert, we also get to celebrate our seniors and all of the amazing things that they have accomplished in their 4 years. So lots of fun for our awards night here tonight. But as you guys know, tonight is something different. And you'll see we have 4 songs that we're going to play for you. But 3 of them I got to pick out. And when I pick out songs, there's educational reasons that go into this. We always take a look at the strengths of the band. Every song might, feature different instruments. They might have different soloists. So when you go to pick music for your ensemble, you just don't, pick whatever and play it. And on January 13th, I got an email from one of these kids out here. And they made a bold move. I mean, this is a brave move. And they're like, hey, Mr. Bradstreet, I got a song I want to play. Would you be interested in playing the song? And I usually have something that goes along with what I like to say. It's a friend of mine, Vaughn Weister, says, if you go to hear his band, he usually says out loud, keep your requests to yourself. And so this email that I'm getting in January, I'm like, you know what? No, I don't know. No. This kid doesn't know the strengths of the band. This kid doesn't know who we should, do all this kind of stuff. And so I listened to it, and I was like, all right. Maybe we should play this song. So tonight, I'm doing something totally different. I've never had a student pick a song. Can we all thank the bravest person I know on our contrabass, Brendan Harrell, for bringing that. Now, thanks to Brendan, we are going to play the scenes from La La Land. And I want to tell you, the kids practice this song more than they practice all the other music. And a lot of the other music's a lot harder than this. But the kids really have enjoyed this. And as you're going to see tonight, I want to do some dedications. And so tonight I am dedicating this song, La La Land, to all of our current students and all of our alumni students. The students here, one of the things that we ask them to do is get better every single day. What our alumni students and our current students might not know is they have asked me to get better every single day. And that's just a neat challenge from the kids working so hard. I want to be better every single day because of these kids and our alumni. So for our conducting this piece, we had a student teacher this year. Every year we get one from Ohio State, we get one from Capital. This year we were handed an amazing young professional. He has done an amazing job with our middle school kids, with our high school kids. He got to go to 3 different middle schools. Of course, he was here at Kaufman High School. He, in just a little bit of time, is going to graduate from the Capital University. Will you please welcome to the stage, for his directorial debut, Mr. Zach Langer. So about 5 years ago, a friend of mine, I got to see perform a piece without any conductor. One of our leading education conductors in the area is named Dr. Scott Jones from Ohio State. And he has been championing this idea called the Orpheus Project. And over the years, I've always tried to figure out how is it best to teach kids, how is it best for them to perform. And over the years, a lot of it has been, I'm going to tell you to play shorter, I'm going to tell you to play longer, I'm going to tell you to balance this, or whatever it is. But in those moments, it's not necessarily so much about the kids as it is the director doing it. And the Orpheus Project is the exact opposite of this. What you're going to see is our students are going to perform without a conductor. And remind me, I'm going to move these stands out of the way here before we play. You're going to see the kids perform without a conductor. And that is a neat thing in itself. You're going to see them start together and hopefully end together, right? You're going to see them do retards in the middle, speed up and slow down, and that's neat. However, I want you to understand this. What you haven't seen is the past, I don't know, about 5 weeks of work. And what the Orpheus Project is all about is the ensemble owning the moment. Because they don't have a conductor to tell them to play shorter, to play louder, or anything like that, in the Orpheus Project, the musicians tell each other. So what I asked is anyone who wanted to be a leader could be a leader, and I put the score up online, and I don't know, about 9 kids or so, maybe 11 kids or so, went and downloaded the score. I asked them to write in who had the melody, who had the counter melody, who had the bass voice, all that kind of stuff. If you were a leader of this project, can you stand up for me and be recognized? These are our leaders of this next song. What you don't see tonight is that they were the ones that said, here's how we're going to start it. It was a big group project. Here's how we're going to do a tempo change. They came up with how we're going to do that. When it came to the melody, what did we want to have heard? What did we want to dynamically shade differently? Do we want the counter melody to come up? They were the ones that are doing this piece. So the Orpheus Project is just something that's the second time we've done it. It slows down the band a little bit, but from the musicality of it, it's neat to see that they know what they want to do and that they know how to shape a phrase. So it's pretty neat. And I actually had a little surprise here. My fun surprise is, if you look at your programs, and Mr. Miller, can we always go to half lights here for me? That would be awesome. If you look at your program, you'll see that it's really something in German. I asked ChatGPT to tell me what this was in German, so this is what it is. But I have fooled my wife. This is The Water is Wide. And this was the first song that we danced to at our wedding. Dedicate this to my wife and my kids. They are amazing, supportive, and I hope you enjoy The Water is Wide. This is, I didn't write it because I figured she would see. This is written by a friend of mine, James Swearingen, and you'll get to see what the kids do. So let me get these music stands out of the way, and let me go sit down, because I don't get to connect this, so I'm going to go sit with my wife. to celebrate some of our awards that we're going to give, we talked about it at our last winter concert, and that was we had 3 students be a part of the All-State Band. The All-State Band is an audition-based band here in the state of Ohio, and any school, any homeschool kid, any kid in the state of Ohio can audition. And if you get selected for this, it means you are one of the top instrumentalists for your instrument. And this year, we had 3 members of the All-State Band. And one of the early things that we did 20 years ago is we established these plaques. If you make the All-State Band, your name will forever be in the band room, unless Mr. Nipper decides not to. These names, we are running at the end of this plaque. I think we have to move to our 4th plaque, if I'm not mistaken. But this year, please come up and be recognized. Satna Rajesh, Emmett Ham, and Ethan Bell. Please come forward. That is a true test of these 3 and also Mr. Hostetler. Let's have a round of applause for these 3. Now on to a scholarship that is handed out by the Dublin Music Boosters. Back in 1987-ish, the Dublin Music Boosters lost a tremendous volunteer. I remember him as a volunteer here for the Dublin Music Boosters. He was also a member of my dad's church. I can remember him coming in and playing the string bass. He was a musician himself, and he had 2 kids go through the program here. And one of his students is still a professional musician down in Orlando, Florida. And he unexpectedly passed away. And back in the late 80s, the Dublin Music Boosters established a scholarship in the name of Jerry Betts. And when Scioto opened, Mr. Hodges, the director there, wanted to keep that going. And so over the years, each school gives out a Jerry Betts scholarship, Jerome, Scioto, and Kaufman. This can go to any instrumentalist or a musician at your school, and it just is one of the main things is are they going to continue on in music? This year, we have a band recipient. Will you please welcome and congratulate Katie Williams as this year's This is an award that's given across the United States. And if you go to almost any high school in the United States, you will find that there are recipients of the John Philip Sousa. We have our plaques outside the band room, and the plaques date back all the way to the 1960s. So we have every award winner from the 1960s who have won this award. And this year, we are handing out 2 awards to 2 amazing musicians. They are a part of the symphonic band, and they've been nominated by all of our students. So we ask for nominations from all the students. Will you please welcome back Katie Williams as one of our John Philip musicians. Our second award winner is Sanjana Rajesh. This plaque is hung up in the band room, and as you can see, they also got their own little statuette. One more round of applause for Sanjana and Katie. All right, on to this next song. As we've been doing dedications, we're all supported by people who love us, and my mom's not with us anymore. She passed away about 13, 14 years ago. I don't keep track because I don't want to know that kind of stuff. But this piece, if I not to go into the whole story because the kids know I won't be able to keep it together. They're smiling at me because they know I can't keep it together. But this song it was probably the last song that she ever heard. She was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She gave it the good fight. Back 13 years ago, we were performing this song, and our students made a special recording just for me. And I shared it with my mom. And the next day, she passed away. So this song means a lot to me. We hope you enjoy it. this. I might be challenging some of you. But there are two really bad things in this world. One is Donato's Pizza. And the second is a movie called Mr. Holland's Opus. Now, go with me on this. We don't have time to talk about Donato's. The kids know how I feel. But let's talk about Mr. Holland's Opus for a second. This movie came out in the mid-90s, and music education championed this movie. It was something that was founded in the principles of music education. But let's review the plot here for a second. The guy had a strained relationship with his wife. He didn't talk to his son. He couldn't complete a project. It took him 20 years to complete this symphony that he was working on. And the worst thing was, at the end of the movie, he lost his music program. The music program wasn't going to be funded by the administration. They cut the music program, and we were all supposed to say, yay! They cut the music program. Well, tonight, that's not the case. I have a wonderful family that talks to me. I can complete projects, and music is alive and well at Dublin Coffin High School. So, to tell you one thing, oh my gosh, I'm jumping the gun here, guys, aren't I? I have to stop, don't I? No, I have to stop. I made a big mistake. We gotta move on with something else. Band, raise your hand when you hear my voice. I do stupid things, you guys know this. Here we go, let's all salute the seniors, everybody. All right, seniors, everyone come on. Seniors, everyone. Seniors, alphabetical. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most difficult tasks. This is one of the most difficult tasks that the seniors have to do, is that they have to line up with their last names. This senior class had, by their last names, alphabet. So this senior class has been amazing. They have championed from start to finish, and they have been able to do some amazing, amazing things. It was starting off at band camp, going through marching band season, but tonight we're celebrating our concert band season. These are concert band seniors, and we are very excited about where they go and all of the things that they will do. One big round of applause for our seniors. Hand our students our certificates and celebrate this wonderful senior class.
All right, we will begin with Jay Alfayomi. Let's hold our applause to the end. I'll go quick, don't worry. Luke Allen, Robert Allen, Marco Bucci, Lucia Castaneda, Leo Cavanis, Joseph Foreman, Hawa Foreman, Alan Gonzalez, Aiden Goodman, Brendan Harrell, Rio Hatano, Vivian Holloway, Matthew Hurley, Jacob Keeler, Sanjana Rajesh, Sapna Rajesh, David Ridenauer, Gianna Sinise, Eric Shonen, Nevin Shaw, Henry Tyler, Zachariah Weber, Katie Williams, and Nico Zencordes. Let's have a round of applause.
All right, let's get back to how bad Donato's pizza is. So sorry. Seniors, I apologize about that. My brother, who, my glasses get. Here they are. My brother Dan said, Jeremy, you shouldn't talk at this. And he was right, I shouldn't have talked at it. So, I wanted just to share with you a few things, and I wanted to let you know I had never wanted to teach anywhere else but here, and that's not afforded to everybody, right? My mom used to say, Jeremy, you just can't wait for the Dublin job to open up. You have to look at other schools, and I spent a year at Denison University. I then went and spent 3 years at Grove City, and had a marvelous, I called it paid student teaching with a man named George Edge. And lo and behold, the assistant band director job opened up here at Dublin Coffin High School. And it's, like I said, I kind of think that if I would have taught somewhere else, maybe I wouldn't have taught as long, because this is a special place and it means the world to me. I want to thank some people. And the first two principals that I had, Tracy Miller and Mike Allring, were instrumental in helping me learn the craft of not only, there's the band director side, but there's also the administrative side. And those two truly understood what it was about the band program, the machine behind the band program. And they were very patient with me because I can't say that I always was able to do the right thing, and they were there to help me in those administrative tasks. I also want to thank our current administration, Mr. Perrell and his team. I think this current team that we have of assistant principals and principals is just the best from top to bottom that we've had here, and I really appreciate their support. I want to thank Dr. Keller, who's in the audience tonight. He built this place. When you take a look at the success that Sayeda has had over the years and Jerome has had over the years, it all started in their infancy with people trying to emulate Dr. Keller. So when I was handed the reins to what I call a Ferrari, when I got handed the keys to the Ferrari back in 2005, I think it was, nothing was broken here. And to be able to walk into a place and have the staff that we assembled put our stamp on the past 20 plus years, to thank Dr. Keller for all that he has done for music and instrumental music here in Dublin and especially here at Dublin Coffin High School. I thank you so much, Dr. Keller. I want to thank, in the early years, it was Andy Rice and Melissa Dover. Missy is here tonight. And, we were trying to carry on the traditions that Dr. Keller set, as well as pave our way. And I'm very grateful for Andy and Missy's help in letting me kind of learn the very beginning of my career here. Building a foundation with Mr. Wallach and Mr. De La Cruz, who was here for about 6 years, assistant band director. I don't think I laughed more than the times that Mr. Wallach and Mr. De La Cruz and I had. Lots of laughs and a lot of amazing times with our band. I want to thank our current team, Mr. Nippert and Mr. Wallach, Mr. Hostetler, Grant and Jennifer, Miss Fairhay, and all the techs and retired band directors who come in here to help our kids. I was learning more than a few years ago that maybe I didn't have to do everything, and having retired educators come in and help our kids, and building up the tech staff has really helped Mr. Nippert and myself just make everything easier. So thank you so much to our current team. I want to thank our performing arts staff, Mr. Garner, our choir director, and Dan Stoll, who is our theater teacher. During COVID, one of the hardest things that we had to do was figure out what we were going to do. And that's when I think our bonds really took off. We spent every 10 a.m. every morning just asking about how life is going, whether it be professionally or personally. And I really appreciate Andrew Garner and Dan Stoll's friendship being a part of our performing arts staff. I want to give a special thank you to Mr. Hostetler. Mr. Hostetler, when I got the job, one of the first persons I called was Jim Rupp at the Columbus Percussion Center, because I needed to find someone who was going to be the percussion instructor here. So I went down to the Columbus Percussion Center and had never met Mr. Hostetler, and they said, you need to go find him. And so made a couple of phone calls, and Mr. Hostetler and I met right here in one of these rooms off this hallway, and little did I know that we were percussion brothers. We saw things the same way, we see things the same way, I should say. But he took the percussion ensemble that I started and has just blown it through the roof. And all the private lessons that he does with our percussionists, and as you can see, having three all-state students, really appreciate his support and wisdom over the years. I also want to give a special thanks to Mr. Nippert. The future is very bright for him. He's a very smart person. His musicianship is unquestioned. And as he goes through the process of figuring out this next, because he is so introspective, I know that he's going to have a great run and do amazing things here with the students and parents here at Dublin Coffman. I want to thank my brothers for showing up. If you want to know the crazy fact, at one point, all three Bradstreet boys were band directors all at the same time. And it made for interesting discussions. We're sharing information back and forth, talking about what practices that they do, and sharing. And I really have appreciated that friendship and that that aspect of understanding more about being a band director. They definitely helped me along the way. My father's here tonight, all the way from Arizona, and he kind of gave me my start in music. If you're in the church, you hear music all the time, and I don't know where my own musicianship came from. But knowing that my dad gave me my start and helped me with my private lessons and supported that all my life, I'm very supportive, and I thank my father for that. Lastly, I want to thank my family, my wife Ann, and my daughter Lauren, and Tyler Michael. Here's how they helped me. They'd be at band practice, and we'd get in the car, and they separate years apart, all three of them had said to me, "Dad, did you really have to talk to the band like that today?" And they helped shape me and definitely keep me grounded. I would come home and I would say, "Hey, there's this new language being taught by middle schoolers." And I would say the words and the boys would be like, "Dad, do not say those words." So they've actually also kept me out of the principal's office. My wife, so supportive. When I'm not at home, I'm with all of these kids. And as you know, during the marching band season, that means I'm not home a lot. And to be such support and always have my back. I will talk to her about some of my crazy ideas, and she's like, "Jeremy, do not do that. That's not a good idea." I was like, "But no, listen to me." And I would explain it again, and she's like, "Yeah, no." So many things along the way to be such a supportive wife, and I really, really appreciate my family's support. I want to talk about three last things before we get into the last piece, and they're real short, but students and having Chris Orozco here talk about the life skills is really important to me. And I have three last things that I want to talk to you guys about. One is, the first two are things that Dr. Keller taught me and that we still teach here. But to be early is to be on time, and to be on time is to be late. You're going to hate us for this later in life. Why? Because not everyone is to be early, is to be on time. People are finding themselves, you might go to a meeting, but you know that that's what you're supposed to do. The second thing that Dr. Keller taught me is to leave a place better than you found it. I hope that is what you see from the efforts that the staff has put into this. And as you guys go off and do what you are going to do, I ask that you guys think about the organizations that you join in college, the companies that you get a job at, the families that you raise, that you leave a place better than you found it. And lastly, something that I like to talk about is not checking off a box of completion. You get assigned academic work, you get assigned chores at home, you get asked to do music checks in band. Never, ever, ever just check off a box and say that you've done it and be happy with it. I want you guys to own every single aspect of the things that you are doing and find ways to do it to your best of your ability. And through that, it's going to help you with your relationships, it's going to help you with your families, it's going to help you with your business, and it's just going to be something that is a driving force, is that if you own what you do and do it to your best ability, that's totally different than us just checking off a box. So I task you with that. Without further ado, we're going to get into our next song. I'm going to ask the band to tune. We've got a special guest to bring out, and we'll play our last piece. Band.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. We have one last thing. I know that we're going a little long-winded, but it's for a good cause. The parents have put something together here that we want to present to Mr. Bradstreet. So we're welcoming up Jamie Chapman and Sapna Rajesh. Come on up. Would you give them a round of applause, please?
VP of Music Boosters, a parent and an alum of this great band with Mr. Bradstreet, these young alums. 1991 with Mr. Bradstreet and his wife, my husband. Band is not a date. And we've had 4 kids go through the program. Our youngest is Meg, a junior. But the Kaufman Band families wanted to thank you and acknowledge you for all your time and energy. And everybody pitched in and donated for some special gifts. And Sapna, our band president, is going to lead us.
Hi, Mr. Bradstreet. It's hard to find the words to thank you. And I've been trying to figure out what to say for a bit now, and I still have no idea. Because you've made an impact on every single person in this room, and I can't even count how many more that aren't here right now. Whether you've helped us, the students, you've helped someone's child, you've helped someone's family, you've helped a school. Thank you so much. And no matter where you go, Mr. Bradstreet, you'll always be our teacher. So we got a couple of things for you. We hope you enjoy. We got you an Amazon gift card, $2,000, for you to get yourself a remote-controlled golf caddy. Where we hope you have some fun. Enjoy retirement, Mr. Bradstreet. And there's one more thing. Here you go. So it's really nicely wrapped, but I think I'm going to spoil the surprise. In it, you will find a photo book. And I worked with a couple of the parents, and we got a lot of people in the band, and some people out who graduated from the band, to take the time to write you notes. Because what we found was there's so many people who wanted to thank you and write you well wishes, because even though we're all a little sad to see you go, we're even happier to see you be happy and take this time for yourself. So thank you so much, Mr. Bradstreet.
Someone's been talking about to my wife about this thing that I never thought I would get. That's awesome. Do you guys know what these are? They're like, it's got a remote control. It just follows you around. All right, let's get on to this last piece and get you all out of here. This is one of my favorite pieces of all time. My dedication of Sailors and Whales goes to my brothers. It goes to my dad. Sailors and Whales is based on the book Moby Dick. It is based off the shores of Nantucket, and if you just take a little bit north, you'll find Cape Cod, and that's where my dad used to take us in our camper to the Rose Campground, where we would spend some of our summers. So this music is based off those same shores that my brothers and I would spend our vacations with our father. I want to dedicate this last piece to my brothers and my dad. And I want to introduce to you our narrator. Please welcome my father, Reverend Robert Bradstreet.
Call me Ishmael. I go to sea as a simple sailor, right before the mast, plump down beside the forecastle, aloft there to the royal masthead. I am tormented by an everlasting itch for things remote. I love to sail forbidden seas and land on barbarous coasts. For these reasons, the whaling voyage was welcome. The great floodgate of the wonder world swung open. There flooded in my inmost soul endless processions of the whale, and one grand, hooded phantom, like a snow hill in the sky. Quake's father was a high chief, a king. His uncle, a high priest. There was excellent blood in his veins, royal stuff. It was quite plain that he must be some abominable savage. But Quake was a creature in a transitory state, neither caterpillar nor yet butterfly. Savage though he was, and hideously about the face, his countenance yet had something in it through all his unearthly tattooings. And in his large, deep eyes, fiery black and bold, there seemed tokens of a spirit that would dare 1,000 devils. There was a low rumbling of heavy sea boots among the benches. And all was quiet again, and every eye was on the preacher. Father Mapple arose, and in solemn, prolonged tones, like the continued tolling of a bell in a ship that is foundering at sea in a fog, in such tones he commenced reading the following hymn. bedraggled in trailing ropes and harpoons and lances, Moby Dick seemed possessed by all the angels that fell from heaven. Retribution, swift vengeance, eternal malice were in his whole aspect. The birds, they marked the spot. The whale, up helm, oh, all ye sweet powers of air, he turns to meet us, oh my God, stand by me now.